Hey guys, this is Chantel, your therapist, and today we're here to talk about conflict management, which is a combination of reflective listening and problem solving skills. So it's like different techniques that we use with conflict management, okay? So the main skill is active listening. So learning how to shut down what's going on in your mind so you can focus on what the person that you're in conversation with is saying so you can fully understand. So active listening is a skill. It's not something that we just automatically know how to do. It's something that we learn how to do. And the way you learn how to do is by practicing it. And that's very important for me to say, because practice make perfect. Because when you're in a situation where you're in an argument with someone, or you're talking to someone that's angry, or like they're upset about something, but you're trying to be the person that listens to them. But sometimes when people are upset, their voices are elevated and it kind of seems like they're talking at you, like you're the person to blame. So you can naturally get in your feelings and be like defensive with them, and you're not being an active listener. So to be an active listener, you have to turn off your insecurities or your need to want to judge the situation, and you have to just be there as an open space for them to offer what they're saying, for you to take it in. Okay, but that's only part of it, because once you take it all in, you have to be able to reflect back what they said to you to make sure, one, you got it right, and then two, that is what's actually helping them process what they're actually verbalizing, what they're expressing. This works the same way in therapy. So in therapy, when people come and talk about issues that's going on, they're talking to the therapist, and this is what talk therapy does. As they're talking, the therapist is reflecting back what they hear through their active listening skills. So it might sound like this. So what I hear you saying is that you're frustrated because you're getting tired of your mom disrespecting your boyfriend, and that's shown by the way when she says this to him and she says that to him. And they might say, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay. So a therapist will go on and ask questions, but they ask certain questions and make sure they got what's being said, and and also they're reflecting back what they heard so far. So they're like quickly summarizing what's been said. So somehow when a person is talking to me, and I'm taking it in, but I have to reflect back what they said to me, make sure I got it right, and mainly for them to make sure I got it right, but also it helps the person process what they said because they said it out loud and somebody reflected it back. So that's why the active listening skills is important, and it really comes in handy with conflict resolution. So let's say hypothetically, I'm person A and person B is arguing with me. So person B is arguing with person A. So they say, I'm so sick of you. You never clean up behind yourself. The kitchen is always messy, blah, blah, blah. They go on and on. Okay. So I'm here, I'm listening to the person argue. Let's say I'm a child, my mom is yelling at me. Okay. And I sit there and I take it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe is that emotional abuse? Maybe not. Because maybe I didn't clean the kitchen. Maybe my mom did tell me this is what I'm supposed to do. So after mom, either I'm gonna let mom finish and say, Mom, I know, I'm sorry. I know I said I was going to clean the kitchen and I didn't. So I can understand how frustrating that is to you. You had a hard day at work. You come home and then you expect me to, have done what you asked me to do, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So imagine saying that to your mom in an argument instead of saying, well, Mom, I understand why I got to do this and blah, 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 blah. It'd change the whole dynamic of the conversation where it wouldn't even be an argument. It'd be like, well, yeah, why do you do that? I don't know. I think I just got caught up in what I was doing, playing my video games, talking on the phone, just relaxing over the summer because, during the school year, I'm so busy with my sports and activity. Not that that's an excuse, but I'm gonna start doing better. That changed the whole dynamic. So it's not even an argument there. But most times it don't go that way. Mom is arguing with me. I'm defending my position. I feel like I'm being judged. And even though it might be accurate what mom is saying, I don't want to accept that reality because I got to defend myself. So what starts happening in situations where conflict has arisen, people are no longer logical in how they're processing. So the prefrontal cortex is offline. This is the logical brain, a smart brain, where we process and rationalize. Okay. So this is this part of the brain. We start going to the back of the brain, which is the emotion brain, which is part of the limbic system, and we're more reactive. Okay. And if we get too heightened, we go into that fight, flight, or freeze response where we just, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna, freeze up and not say nothing, or I'm gonna, what I'm saying? Just kind of run away from the situation, avoid, evade the situation, so to speak. So is learning how to make sure that both brains, the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, are both communicating with each other. And you do this by rationalizing things in your mind. So if you can stay in a state of active listening, where you try not to take personally what the person is saying. So you just listening for information, because you know you're gonna have to you're gonna have a pop quiz in a few minutes. You're gonna have to reflect back in your own words what you heard that person say. That keeps the frontal cortex, the smart brain, aligned. So you're just not reverting back to the emotional brain, because the person that's arguing with you, I think I call that person B, they're not rational. They just angry and they're expressing themselves. So if you two both get in a irrational debate back and forth, that can explode and turn to something more. It can turn to a fight if both people in that state. So one person got to remain online. One person has to be the quote bigger person. Okay. So the bigger person for this example is us, me. In this example, you. In this example. So you learn how to active listen. So, okay, mom, I'm sorry. What I heard you say is you mad at me because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. I did promise I was gonna do that and I didn't do it. I'm sorry. I was being lazy. You know, you state what's going on. And then mom will go back and forth. Well, why is it? Why do you do that? I said, I don't know. I just got caught up in the video game, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So now it's going back and forth. It's a banter back and forth. It's a conversation. It's not just heightened emotions. You're expressing things, but learning how to take responsibility for the part that you did wrong. Okay. And sometimes it can be opposite of that. So sometimes it could be where let's say I'm mom now in this scenario, and I am blaming you. You're so lazy. You never do what I asked you to do. The house is a mess. You always want something from me, but you don't do the things that I want you to do in order to, to get the rewards or get the allowance that you be wanting all the time. So next time you want to do, this how I'm going at you. And even though I'm right with what I'm saying, the child was lazy, but it's the way I say it. I'm blaming the person. I'm calling them names. I'm name calling. So when a person felt like they're being judged and pinpointed and you don't give them an out, of course they're going to be defensive. So me as the parent, I have to learn how to change what I'm saying, change the verbiage. So your name is Johnny for this example. Johnny, it makes me feel irritated and disappointed when I come home from work after a long day, and all I asked you to do was unload the dishwasher, wipe the counter down, and clean your room, and neither one of those tasks are done. How do you think I'm supposed to react to something like that? What would you say? Would you respond better if your mom said it that way instead of saying, I'm so sick of your lazy butt, you're not doing nothing, you're on punishment for a month. The rest of the summer you're gonna be in the house and do nothing, which way do you want? So learning how to communicate, but it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? So mom, the way she said to you, even though you were wrong, is important. And child, the way you perceive it is more understanding where mom's coming from. Okay. And understanding like you didn't do your task. So it's like learning how to perceive the situation differently, and also keep being more rational in it, where you being more the observer, being more objective, you're acknowledging feelings. Mom saying how it made her feel disappointed, and kind of frustrated that you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's important to acknowledge how you feel. Don't suppress emotions. But at the same time, having a conversation with you about it instead of talking at you. She's opening the floor to you. How would you deal with this? What would you do in a situation like this? Okay. So this goes to the part of learning to express emotions effectively. So you can still get the same point across, but in a different way. So you allow the person to speak that has the floor. If mom is talking, as long as she's doing it positively, expressing how she feels and her expectation, what she expected, then open up with then you talking back, y'all going back and forth. Hopefully y'all can come to a good conclusion as far as you completing what you said you're going to do, first off, and then going forward, you continue to do that thing. But also, the part that's really important is learning how to communicate with each other. That's the real thing. It's a lack of good communication skills. Okay. And learning how to not let your ego get involved, where you just want to talk back or defend your position. Yes, but I know I said I was going to do this, but that's an excuse. Every time it's a but after you said that you make an excuse. So you stop, you accept, mom, you're right. I totally dropped the ball and I knew I was supposed to do. I'm sorry. And then the next thing is completing a task you're supposed to do. And maybe you need to give mom a break, walk away, do the task, let her cool down. Hey, mom, hour later, I finished this, this, and this. Going forward, this is, I'm gonna make sure I do what I need to do in order, when you say do something, I'm gonna do it. So there's no confusion or frustration with us. Let's get out the way and do it. Now, if there's an issue with doing it, that's a whole nother video on procrastination and the behavior activation plan. But that's the simplest solution. If you say you're gonna do something, follow through. If you don't, the person that's on the receiving end of the thing you didn't do, they have a right to be upset. But even how they express themselves can be different, which is very hard to do. And I'm acknowledging that as a mom. It's very hard to be calm when you're heightened and upset about something, okay? Yes. So the main thing, active listening, listen without talking, get a person on the floor, reflect back. And when a person communicating, accept responsibility, express feelings effectively. Those are the main point with conflict resolution.